This is When I Grow Up with Paul Glazby.
So, this is Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt.
Matt White from Born to Watch fame. He's the man behind the scenes. You might remember him from episode 1.
Yeah, flipping the script.
Flipping the script, yeah. So we thought, rather than waste a session, we would actually just do a little bit of a recap as to what's happened with When I Grow Up over the last 6 months now.
Nearly 7 months.
Nearly 7 months. Wow.
Yeah.
Because it's basically turned into something that I never intended it to be.
Well, I think from I'll loosely call myself a producer, but from a producer's perspective, this was about people's journey through life professionally, about when we were a kid, what we dreamed of being.
Yep.
Firemen, paramedics, policemen, lawyers,
Porn
stars, DJs,
yeah.
But it has completely morphed into something different, and naturally it has done that.
Yeah.
It's not been anything that you and I have discussed.
No.
It's just been that's the way it's happened.
Well, I think it all changed when, well, it didn't all change, but we go back to, like, obviously Maddox came on, Ben Stevens, and I always knew I'd have those guys on because I've got such a strong bond with them through working with them so much. But then I can't even remember how Lashes came on. I must have asked her, and she said yes straight away, which I was like, well, that's
the Maddox. Those episodes, and they were the ones that changed it.
That's what I mean.
So that was when people started to contact you, saying, "Oh, I loved what you did with those boys. Can I come on?"
Yeah.
So it became initially where we were, and that's, as I said to you, the hardest thing's going to be finding guests. But those two guys did a hell of a job for you.
Yeah. Well, they always have done. That's why we're such good friends.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, looking back over obviously there's lots of episodes that are not music related, and it's nice when I get messages from people that they've come on because of Lashes or E&M or whatever, but then they've gone back and listened to some of the others and then commented on those, like the interesting stories that might be, Luke or Chris or Liza, the people from those episodes. So that's hopefully what we can continue to do. It's not all going to be music related or even hard house related, but getting those guys, like, I mean, E&M, literally, I think it was the next day, he messaged me and said, I want to come on again.
Yep.
And we've got him booked in. He'll be on again before the end of the year. And then people like, I mean, Baby Doc's episode's not even out yet, but we recorded with Baby Doc last week. And that's someone that was a weird one for me. And I was really looking forward to it because I don't know the guy. Like, I'm a massive fan of his, and then getting him on and finding out what a nice guy he is as well when he came on, and fucking hilarious. So it's been awesome. And then reconnecting with the Tidy Boys, E&M, who I'd not spoken to in a long time, Lisa, that I'd not spoken to, all the hard house people I'd not had on. Alf Bamford, Steve Hill, I see them quite a lot because of the gigs that we do in Sydney or in New Zealand. So I see them more regular. I've got to know those guys better since I've kind of retired from DJ, not retired, but stepped back a bit. Retired. So I've got to know those guys better since not being a DJ in the UK, let's put it that way. But and I know you're going to laugh when I say this, but it's got me back into, like, I'm more into dance music now than I've been in 15 years.
I think what I've noticed sitting on the sidelines is your passion. That's what I've noticed. So I've noticed that, and not to say that when we started this that you didn't have that, but there's just that change in your voice and in your tone when you talk about this stuff, when you talk about the hard house stuff, when you talk about the good old days, when you talk about that stuff. And I think that you say retired, I laugh, and we talk about it all the time about you being a mate. Remember, you're a real estate agent, right?
Yeah.
But I think that we can't mask who we are.
No.
We can't. We can fake it for only so long. And not to say that you're not a great real estate agent. I know that you are. And I know that you do love doing that. But, you know, whether you call DJing a hobby or whether you call it whatever, there's no doubt that you love it.
Yeah.
And that what I've noticed is that, and you can see it in the episodes, you know, and that, as I said, that's not to say that the ones that weren't music related, you weren't in on, because you were, but there's just a little something different when you talk to the guys that you're in the trenches with.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I don't know what the difference is either, but I think it's...
everyone loves a reminisce, mate.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a reminisce.
Well, we actually... so when Baby Doc was on last week and he was talking about his track, which I'd kind of forgotten. I mean, I'm a big fan of his, but I'd forgot about that track, Yum Yum, which I'm sure is on one of the Turner V mixes, like live in Tokyo. I don't think it's live in Tel Aviv. I think it's live in Tokyo. And he was saying that that was Turner DeV's favorite track of his, not favorite track all, but favorite Baby Doc track. And obviously, Baby Doc did a lot of stuff after Turner DeV died. In fact, it was the 27th anniversary of his death yesterday.
Wow.
So, so I went back and listened to that track. I'm like, fuck, it's like incredible. So I spoke to Ben Stevens, and I might be jumping ahead here because this might not happen, but hopefully it does. Hopefully this helps it happen. So hopefully we're going to license Yum Yum for Vicious Circle, and then I'm going to do a remix at some point this year, which will come out next year, which will be 30 years since the original track came out.
Crazy.
Yeah.
A real estate remix.
Hard house.
Clever. Yeah, smart.
But yeah, it's been great. And the guests that we've got, in fact, I should have had a list.
I've got the list here.
Oh,
We can go through the list and tell you who we've got coming up, because it's
a
the funny thing is that I'm your bog standard Aussie. So when it comes to Pommy Hard House, I'm an absolute novice, but I've heard these names spoken about so much now, and I get to talk to them a little bit sometimes before the show or after the show, and I now feel like I'm a bit of a part of it. So I appreciate you inviting me in to a scene that if I was ever there, I would have stood out like a sore frickin' thumb. I would have been as bad as my mate Strangles in Auckland with that shitty tarot-toweling hat on. That's how bad I would. But you know, obviously Anne Savage, she missed today, but we'll catch up with her.
She'll definitely be on. Yeah.
Down got Victoria.
So Victoria, so she's not Hard House related. She is actually someone that I've been following on Instagram. She's a little bit edgy, but I really like her point of view on a lot of things.
Yep.
Might be a little bit political, but yeah, she's definitely someone that I think would be good to have a conversation with. So.
Yeah. Amber D, yeah. Nicole Tovey. Oh, she's not one, so we'll probably edit that. Paul King, yep.
So one of my top 3 favorite producers of all time. Got to work with him years ago. He had a lot of stuff on Vicious Circle. But yeah, massive influence for me. So getting to sit down and talk to him. Yep. Excellent.
Yep. BK.
Yep. So I was actually talking to Ben last night. He sent me a lot of his new tracks that he's done. Because I posted the little reel of Big Fish to announce that that's coming out on the 18th of July, and he sent me a message, said send it over. So I sent him the track, and then he sent me some of his stuff, and then we were just having a bit of a backwards and forwards. But yeah, it'd be good to catch up with him. So obviously we did a really good track years ago, and I'm hoping that when I'm back in the UK in November, I'm hoping that I can sort of get time to get in the studio with Ben again.
Jimmy Dean,
yeah. So he's big. Well, that guy, fucking hell, he's like Richard Branson. It's nuts. I knew Jimmy, and I think he started off as like a glass collector in the club that I ended up, when I did my 10-hour set, it wasn't the glass collector when I did the 10-hour set, it was the promoter, but he's like worked his way up. But he was on the Tidy Boys podcast talking about what he's doing. He does these big events now, but he's like, he's got a business that does all the food, and he's got the business that does the sound, and he's set up like a medical thing. He's like opened a doctor's surgery or something. It's nuts. The stuff he was talking about, I'm like, because I just know him as Jimmy Dean, the guy that was putting on crazy parties and jumping on the mic, and I couldn't fathom it. He's like, yeah. So I can't wait to speak.
That'll be an interesting chat.
Yeah.
And then we've got E&M coming back on.
Yep.
Which will be awesome. And then you've got Janelle to talk about the London Hard House reunion. Yeah,
so Janelle, she's the promoter. She does it with the help of Steve Hill on in Auckland. So yeah, definitely getting her on to talk, because she is one of the best. Like, her gigs are incredible, and just the way that she looks after the clubbers, but like the DJs as well, is literally second to none. So I can't wait to get her. She's a little bit nervous about it, but she says she's going to put her big girl pants on.
Everyone's nervous before coming on.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's not true. Most of the guys that you get on aren't nervous.
No, Tidy Boys weren't nervous.
No. They're good fellas.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And this is the thing. Like now, so whether it's Tom. Oh, obviously we had Tom on as well.
Yeah, Tom from Insomniacs, yeah. And Tom from Bradford.
And Tom from Bradford, yeah. So his episode will be out soon, yeah.
He's a lunatic.
He's fucking hilarious. But we need to get him back on as well, because the two main things I wanted to talk to him about, we didn't even get to. So he'll be back on. But that's what I was going to say earlier, is like, I thought, Maddox, he's been on, Ben Stevens been on, Lisa, but all these people, and it was you that said it, like, just get them on again.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much to talk about.
So that's why I'm the producer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so getting people.
But the Tidy Boys episode, far and away the best episode. Like from a listener. Now, YouTube analytics and Spotify and Apple analytics are different. From a purely audio perspective, so not using YouTube as a parameter, Tidy Boys has blown everyone out of the water.
Right.
Everyone out of the water. And that's, obviously a reflection of how they're viewed, because they've got obviously quite a following, and they've been in the industry for ages. But you could speak, and all the feedback we're getting, so all the comments, these people want more of these people.
Yeah.
So, to get these guys on again, it's not, people aren't going to go, oh, bloody E&M again.
No, definitely not.
You know what I mean? So I think it's really morphed into something that neither of us anticipated it would be.
Definitely, yeah. And to be honest, if you just said to me in December when we started this, do a podcast all about Hard House, I'd have been like, I'm past that.
Yeah. No, you're not.
No.
So a question from me to you, because it's a good little segue there. You saying, "Oh, Hard House, I'm past that." Now, I've sat here and listened to you talk about how, from where you started from to where to the journey to deciding you were going to finish, and the thing that keeps coming back is that the respect that you had for a couple guys, and it might have even been E&M, and seeing how he did it. And you were like, well, you had a bad night one night and performed badly, and went, you know what? I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to be sober. I'm going to be focused, and I'm going to be professional. And throughout, people that you're mentors for have said to you, we saw how you did it. So that's how we realized that you had to be professional in order to do the set the right way.
Yeah.
Now, as a elder gentleman that's still performing, right? That's still, and you've got things lined up this year. Probably, I don't know. Might be bold in saying, but you're not all the way back, but you it's clawing you back in.
Well, I mean, I did a post the other day, and I've got something happening every month.
Yeah.
Between now and the end of the year, which is nuts.
Yeah.
It's not all, it's a track being released or gigs, but like in August I've got 2 gigs. In November I've got 2 gigs maybe even 3 now. Someone's reached out to me, so it might be 3 in November. But it's it's definitely it's been amazing, really.
But how is your approach to it now? So, like, are you obviously you've got to do it a certain way, but are you? I can imagine when you are a professional DJ and you're doing it every week, and you're traveling the world, that it can be the same with every job. It becomes a job, right? Is there a sense of freedom now? Does it feel like, are you nervous? How do you approach it?
No, I'm not. I think that's for me. Like, I never got nervous, and certainly at 47, I'm not going to start getting nervous now. But I think because the scene, what would be interesting is because there's all these new DJs, but what they're playing, even though they're playing some of our tracks, they're playing, from what I can gather, like edits of our tracks. So it's like, just part of it. But it'd be interesting to see over the next, few years if we can sort of pull some of those new, younger people over into, because hard house, it's not about jumping from one track to another. That's not what it is. Like it's like if you went to Gatecrasher years ago, which is a trance club, but those big build-ups and the like the euphoric sort of, like the emotion. If you listen to an early Gatecrasher CD, like depends how off your face you are, but you could feel like you're going to start crying at some point. 'Cause it's so like up and down. And hard house is a little bit like that, but just more aggressive, I guess. But it's the journey, and that's what I'm trying to think. Someone said this to me the other day, that they were saying about how, it was Tom Bradford.
Yep.
When he was saying about when he used to come and see me, and like it was a journey, and that's what I think it should be. The night should be a journey. Like what's played at 10 a.m. should be vastly different from what's played at 6 a.m. Like it should go, and that's what Trade was so good. I mean, I never went, but that's where we sort of learned. If you listen to the Trade CDs, there were 3 CDs, and this one would sound, it'd be nothing like this 3, and this 2 would be somewhere in between that sort of bridge the gap. When we did our Vicious Circle albums, like the first one we did was me and Farley started off at a point and built it up, and he probably built it up to a touch past where I started, but then I picked and then went again. It's like passing the torch, and it just gets a bit hotter every time, like every time you pass it. And that's where it should be. So these sets, and I might be talking out of school because I've not sat and listened to these new guys. I'm just going on what people tell me. But that whole jumping from one thing to another, just playing the riff from something, that's not playing the track. The track's a track, like it's a piece of work that you then weave into another piece of work, and you're building something.
It's interesting that obviously instant gratification is a big thing in today's society, especially with the younger. God, we sound like an old man, but But with the younger generations, that it's all about instant gratification. It's all the dopamine hit of your phone, and and you'd think that the one place that it probably shouldn't hit is in this area, because there is. I guess it's a feel thing, right?
Yeah.
And so, I find it weird that. But again, I guess it's all generational as well. So things do change.
Yeah.
But you know what? And you'll appreciate this. There's still nothing better than Metallica.
Yeah.
Right? And they've been around for 45 years.
Yeah.
So the good stuff soldiers on.
Yeah.
I'm afraid when all the old bands die, because there's no one to replace them.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So I think that whilst, and that's, I think if you look at it from the point of view of, well, they're using the tracks, so they appreciate the tracks. They're just not. It's just not how I would use the tracks.
Exactly.
Yeah. So but it is hard. I can imagine it would be hard.
Yeah. So I mean, it will be interesting to see how, if any of that translates. Like when I was talking to BK last night, and even Lisa Lashes earlier in the week, and because obviously Lisa does her music school.
Yeah, that blew me away.
Yeah. And I said to her, "Is there any people that have gone through your school that you think might be good guests on the podcast?" Because I'm sort of thinking ahead, how do we bring some of these newer people in? because some of these newer people, they will want to be on a podcast that Lisa's on and BK's on, and all these guys that they would have, when they got into Hard House, you're like, oh shit, these are the guys that were making it.
Yeah.
These are the guys that started it. So it'd be nice to sort of, it'd be interesting to see how things play out over the next few years, really. I mean, I've been back in the studio. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4. I've done 4. By the end of the year, I'll have done probably 5 or 6 new tracks, but they're not 2 minutes long.
Was that ever on the radar though?
No.
Did you ever think you would do any more music?
No. And I've said for years now, if I never DJ again, I won't care. I wouldn't even think about it. If I never got another booking, but yeah. So, I was wrong, wasn't I?
So when you do the gigs that you do now and you look out at the crowd, what's the crowd like?
My age.
I reckon that's the best thing.
Yeah. And some of them wear silly white hats.
Silly white terry towelly hats like some idiots in Auckland.
The UV lights.
They're just a beacon.
Bounce off.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The thing is, he's not an attractive guy, so he needs
I
to
can't
be.
see his face.
Well, you're lucky. It's like Quasimodo, but it's that.
He's going to be listening to this.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah. Love you, Strangles. Keep listening. He's one of the great guys, and it was funny when, and I think this is another little good jump, is that when I just had mentioned that I'm starting to work with a guy with a new podcast, blah, 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 and I said, his name's Paul Glazby, and there was silence at the end of the phone. And I was like, mate, are you okay? He goes, I know Paul Glazby. I've been to heaps of his gigs in London. And I was like, oh, okay. So then when I teed up that you were going to Auckland, and he was going, and he was very, very excited. But I think that when I found out, when I met you and you were Paul, the real estate agent, which you still are, right? That's your Clark Kent. You are Paul, the real estate agent is your Clark Kent, right? But when you undo the top button and pull it aside, there's Glazby.
A pair of headphones.
There's a pair of headphones and loud music pouring out of your chest. Yeah. But what I only ever knew you as Paul, the real estate agent. So for me, hearing the stories from these guys talking about and the reverence that they hold you in as well, like there's a lot of mutual respect that goes on within this area.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice as well. I mean, and that's what I sort of went off on a tangent before, but what I was saying is like that being 47 now and looking back, because I was 22 when I started, like 25 years. And when you're doing things at the time, you don't, you're just doing it. You're not sitting and thinking about the relevance of what's happening or like you do a track and you go, you enjoy playing it and it's a decent track, but then 25 years later, people are still buying.
Yeah.
Not just playing it, but people are buying it now, but also the likes of the Tidy Boys and Tom, and all the people that kind of help you along the way. You don't realize how much they're helping you at the time, and that's the thing. I mean, what Tom did for me is incredible, but the Tidy Boys as well. Not just me, but the way they helped other people. They were, I mean, they're just good guys. Like I think if you can get like Ben Stevens, everyone said he's the nicest guy. Like that's a good thing. If you can be in an industry for 25 years and then people actually, they want to talk to you or they think you're decent or, that's probably a win in itself.
What's amazing is that he only looks 25.
Well, I always think him and Maddox still.
So do Maddox.
23 or. But
they only look like, they don't even look 30.
No.
Like they're living a rather charmed life.
The studio life.
But the thing that I've loved as well is that not only people are starting to listen and to watch you, but they're starting to build a community. So you're getting lots of interaction, you're getting people making comments, people asking for things and making suggestions. And I think that's been the coolest thing for me. That was something that, again, we never envisaged that would happen, but you're starting to build a community, which is really amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a few guys in particular that always are there, but the one guy like Christoph, like
almost from day one.
From day one, yeah. Not even like just since the hard. Oh, maybe it was after the Maddox one. I can't remember. But anyway, but I know because the episode's launch. I'm asleep when the episode launches, but it's in the UK. It's like 4:00 in the afternoon. So the people in the UK have seen the episode before.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I've seen it before, but like before anyone in Australia has seen it because it's
releases at 12:15 a.m.
So, and it's very rare do I go and there's no comment from Christoph. You know, he always comments with it, so that's now. And then obviously there's other people are as well now. But the community side of it is really is really good. Yeah, it's and yeah, I didn't think that would happen. But every morning now when I wake up, I look on Instagram and I've got people to reply to. There's messages that have come in. There's comments and you know, like so. The first 15-20 minutes of my morning is laying in bed answering everything that's happening in the UK, which is kind of what used to happen when I had the gyms. Because what I used to do is I used to run all the Facebook advertising, and I'd work all day, and then when it was time to pick the kids up from kindy, I'd launch these adverts, and it used to work out to be sort of 7 a.m. in the UK. And then you'd see some leads coming through, but then the bulk of the day was when I was asleep. So I'd wake up.
Scared the shit out of me,
Molly. So when I'd wake up, I'd then see, we've had 20 people have applied, or that was with the gym.
Yeah, wow.
And like now it's, you know, same kind of thing because we're 9 hours ahead or whatever. So it's good. But there's obviously people in Australia that are, you know, on there as well, and with these gigs that I've got coming up, I think I'm just going to start and wear a "When I Grow Up" t-shirt and just get hand some flyers out.
Definitely, 100% should.
Yeah,
I think that the social media side of it has been a resounding success. It's
that was your idea. You said we need to get an Instagram page set up for it, so that was definitely.
But you've definitely put you put a lot of work into that. Yeah, and it's working.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. It's someone said to me, well, I think we do need to do Facebook because like E&M, for example, he's not on.
Yes,
he's not on Instagram. There's a lot of people that will do one or the other. But then someone said about TikTok. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, there's
only so much I can do.
There's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah,
and you do need to sell houses.
Yes, I've got to keep paying the bills. Yeah. But like I just, I can't believe how it's evolved. And there's even people coming on as well that are not even hard house, like the music related, but not hard house.
Yep.
I've just got to get some dates locked in, so I'm not going to say any names just yet. But yeah, there's other sort of genres. And obviously we had Dave the Drummer. I mean, his episode.
That was the first one that really went a bit viral.
Yeah, that blew up. But obviously because he's so active, and he's got like an international. Because we had people watching from like Venezuela and Brazil, and all over the place. So yeah, his episode went bananas, and I think on YouTube it is the biggest, the most watched episode that we've had. But he's such a nice guy as well. But I knew him, even though I'd not seen him for 20 years, but I knew him, I'd sat in the studio with him. And so it wasn't like the Baby Doc one where I just didn't know him at all. But yeah, such a nice guy. Again, when I reached out, because I reached out to him, and straight away, he's like, yeah, great. I'll come on. Yeah. And he was so natural, like he wasn't nervous either. He was just like, but that's the thing. I think it's just like, you're sat over there, you're not in the camera, and it's just two mates having a chat.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key to it. And I think that people feel that. And I think that it's when we brief anyone about the podcast, it's not, question and answer. It's just two mates having a discussion. It's like you're sitting at the bar at a pub, and you're having a pint.
Yeah.
And that's really that's the feel. And I think that although less pints in your future.
Yeah, I've not drunk for 3 nights. Feeling all proud of myself.
I can tell. Yeah, you look great for it.
Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks. Yeah. So that takes us into something I want to talk about. So I've got a pretty good gym at home, and me and Matt have been training for how long have we been doing? Maybe a couple of months.
No, longer than that. Is it? Yeah, you can't tell, but maybe maybe I reckon 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you just went on a holiday, so we got his first session back this week, and then I had to cancel your second session because my car was booked in for a service that I forgot about. But we're back in tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Saturday.
Yeah.
But Matt's
ruined my weekend.
Yeah. Matt's missus promised that when they got back from the holiday that she was going to be his accountability partner at home. It still stands.
Yeah, definitely. She's all over it.
So what I thought is we'd put it out there that me and Matt are really going to try this back end of 2025 because I drink too much. I smoke a bit of weed. Then I eat a bar of chocolate and I'm putting all this effort into the gym. And I'm like, I could be so much more jacked if I just, if I just knuckle down with my with home life. So that's the plan. We're going to see what we can do over this next 6 months. We're going to do a few measures. Might put them in the show notes, and then we're at January, early January.
Yeah, why
early
not?
January, or maybe just before Christmas.
Well, I think it's probably safer just before Christmas.
Just before Christmas, we'll do a recap and see where we're at, and then you guys can let us know if we're a pair of tossers or not.
Oh, no, well, that's inevitable. That's 100% inevitable. One thing we need to be clear is that both of us are doing this, but there's going to be severely different outcomes for each of us. I think that Paul's looking to get more jacked. I'm looking just to not take up a whole couch when I sit down. So look, I think my journey.
But we might end up looking the same at the end.
Well, I don't think we're going to meet in the middle. Okay. I don't think there's any chance that you'd have to put on 20 kilos and I'd need to lose 20 kilos. And I think that there's more, to be honest, I probably think there's more chance of me losing the 20 than you putting it on. Yeah. I can't see you
get on a severe steroid cycle.
Well, you know,
you imagine if I'm just like super like the Hulk.
Get on the Lufarino.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's the other thing as well. Like, because I've got these three sort of phases to my life. So there's the music, and then the fitness was like in the middle, and then real estate just sort of came along completely out of the blue. Sort of having people because it gives you something to talk about. So there's a guy that's coming on. He actually confirmed. I'm just waiting for him to confirm the date, but he said he's definitely coming on. A guy called Dax Moy.
Yep.
And I used to go and do all his training courses in London, and like his stories. I'm not going to say anything about it, but his story is bananas. But he's one of the top trainers in the UK. He spends half or a good portion of his year. He lives in Thailand and has done for years. You
had me at hello.
But he'll be a really good guest. I think he's in there. I think he was like special forces for a while. But the stuff that happened before he went in the army, if I'm remembering the story right, it's and that's what I want. I want these people that have got interesting stories. So when it's someone that's not hard house, the people that appear for the hard house stuff are like, shit, that's worth an hour of my time.
Definitely.
Having people that are, I'm trying to stay away from real estate people because
they're boring.
Yeah, but there's a couple of guys that will be coming on. They're buyers agents rather than real estate agents, but it's all kind of. But one of them, Reese, he used to be a personal trainer as well, so it just gives us something to talk about. You know, there's something like common ground straight away. So and then one of the guys that came on, Daryl. So me and Daryl have now got a new venture that we're sort of pursuing as well. He's like a genius AI guy, so we'll be talking about that if that sort of all comes about. And then Luke from episode 2 or 3, whatever it was, so he's coming on board with that as well. So we've got it's like it's
incestuous.
It's crazy,
mate. It all started with a flippant remark about doing a podcast, and it's changed your life, mate.
Changed my life.
Yeah, we don't know whether it's for the better yet.
We'll find out.
But we'll find out.
Yeah. So gig wise this year, August is Brisbane, and then the week after Adelaide, which will be amazing. I'm looking forward to Brisbane, but Adelaide is my biggest fan base So my biggest concentration of fans anywhere in the world is Adelaide.
Really?
Yeah, like I pull a bigger crowd in Adelaide than I would even if I played in Sheffield. Or to be fair, the crowd might be, but not everybody in that crowd would be from Sheffield.
Yes.
Whereas I play Adelaide and everyone there is from Adelaide.
Yeah. Well, you're not allowed to leave.
No. So,
They don't fit in. They don't fit in many places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the first time I ever played Adelaide, and it was a Thursday night, and we were on this tour. It was a Gatecrasher tour, and me and Ingo were doing the Tidy Tracks room. So we did like room 2, which was Tidy Tracks room on this Gatecrasher tour. But for the Adelaide gig, the Gatecrasher guys, they weren't. It was just me and Tom. So we flew down, and we had Adelaide on the Thursday. We had Auckland on the Friday, Sydney on the Saturday, Brisbane on the Sunday, and we were like, "Oh, fucking Adelaide on a Thursday and Brisbane on a Sunday. It's going to be wank."
Yeah,
we were thinking that Auckland and Sydney were going to be the big ones. Auckland was good on the Friday. Sydney on the Saturday was shit. And the Brisbane on the Sunday and the Adelaide on the Thursday. The Adelaide on the Thursday to this day is one of the best gigs I ever did. Incredible.
Really?
I think maybe because I was expecting it to be shit and it was good. But yeah, I still remember. And we had to leg it to the airport. So my last track, I just left it playing. I just left the record and funked off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I played a vicious circle thing that I knew I could just get when I got back home. So we had to just leg it to the airport and then fly from there back to Melbourne to get the flight to Auckland. And then we got to Auckland and then the next morning flew to Sydney. And I remember I still remember getting in bed in the hotel in Sydney, and I like laid, and I think I was like in this position. And I woke up like 4 hours later. And
in the same position.
Exact same position. Yeah, I was just like exhausted. And then we did the Brisbane on the Sunday, and then flew back on the Monday. That's what it was like back in the day. Like you didn't
cram it in.
Yeah, cram it in. So yeah, it'd be good to do those gigs for the System 6 boys in August, and then September London Hard House reunion, and then at the end of October, fly back to England and Insomniacs on the 1st of November. And then the week after, a special event, which I can't talk about yet. In fact, I'm going to speak to Tom, but I reckon we're going to announce that on the podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have this is what I'm thinking, that we'll have a link. So anyone that hears about it on the podcast will get tickets first.
Oh, wow.
See if we can sell 3.
Excellent.
But yeah, I just thought it'd be a good thing to do, even if just 2 or 3 days before. So we'll have to time the episode release so that people know.
Yeah, we can do that.
And then potentially something back in Australia in November, and then in December, I've done the Kick It remix. So Kick It's the Vicious Circle first ever release. And I've done a 2025 rework of that. So that comes out, and I'm not sure, it'll come out in December, so it'll be within a couple of weeks, 25 years.
Does it go for 2 minutes in honor of the new generation?
Nope. It's about 8.5. Fuck yeah.
Perfectly. Mate, I've always preferred, I've always said 8.5 is better than 2 every time.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's exciting times, mate.
It is.
And, 7 months ago, it was...
Yeah, talking about real estate.
How boring.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah. Just remember, if you are on the Gold Coast and need to sell your house, contact Paul Glazby.
Yeah. But don't expect me to do a podcast about it.
Mate, I'll tell you what, well done. I'm really excited and proud of the 7 months that you've managed to put together. And
we put together.
Well, you do the bulk of it. I just do the stuff behind the scenes.
Well, I couldn't do it without you, Matt. So let's.
I appreciate that, mate. But we're having fun too.
Yeah.
I think that we are having a good time doing it, and may it continue. And who knows what it'll be in 2026?
Can you imagine? Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Not bad to say. We had no notes on that. We just freeballed it.
Talk shit for however long that went.
Yeah. Nice.
Well done.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, pal.
This is When I Grow Up with Paul Glazby.